Good morning, students. Today we will see call by value and call by reference in C language. So, so what is mean by call by value and call by reference? Here we know when in a function we have to pass arguments or parameters by value, that is actual value we have passed, then it is called as call by value. And if you pass actual reference or address of that variable to a function, then that type of function is called as call by reference. So this is a primary thing, that is call by value and call by reference. But what happens in call by value and call by reference? These are two different types of function. When we pass call by value and when we pass argument to a function using call by reference. So let's see. In dev C++, first click on file, then new tab, create new source file using source file. Okay, so in call by value, first call by value. In call by value, actual value, that means actual value we have to pass as an argument to another function. Here we take program that is based on swapping of two numbers using call by value. Swap two numbers using call by value. So let's see how we will do that. Before that, okay, so before that, first include hash include stdio.h header file. After that, int main function. Clear? Next, what we want to do here, we want to take two variables, value variable a. Suppose initial value of a is equal to 10. Second, b, initial value of b is equal to 20. Okay, so after that we have to pass value of a and value of b to the another function, that is swap function. So create new function, that is swap, with swap function having prototype with argument without return type. So return type of the swap function is void, that means swap function does not return anything. And we have to pass two arguments to the swap function, int a and int b. So this is definition. This whole is called as the function definition. Now we can write the definition inside the swap. So what is the code for swapping two variables? Okay, from main function we have to pass value of a and b to the swap function. So inside main function we have to call this swap function using function name swap and a comma b. That means we have to pass actual values, that is a and b, to that swap function. So initial value of a is equal to 10. This 10 value is copied into the a variable of swap scope. Here this a and b, these two variables are in the scope of swap variable swap function. And here a, this a and this b, these two variables are in the scope of main function. Okay, so we have to pass a and b to the swap function, that is this is a is called as actual values we have to pass. Now inside the swap function we have swapped the two values. For that, let's take another variable t as a temporary variable. So for this, what is the memory management? So let's open call by value memory management. Okay, so here a and b are the two variables which is saved on the random access memory, having values 10 and 20 initially, and these are the in the scope of main function. Next, this is a swap function, and this swap function also we have to pass a and b. So current values of a and b are 10 and 20. That means the a and b, which is in the scope of main function, same values we have to copied into the swap function. New memory management is allocated for the a and b variable inside the swap function. That means these are a and b are the old values, and swap functions a and b are the new values. So here old values, these a and b are two old values, and new values. These a and b are in the swap function, these are the new values. So whenever we make the changes in the new values, then these new values get changed, but that values are not reflected back into the old values of a and b, which is in the scope of main function. Understood? That means old values remains as it is, and when we change the new values get reflected, but that is not again reflected in the old values. So in call by values, when we pass the values to any function, then new copy of that old values is created, and when we make the changes in the new values, that is not reflected back to the old values. That is the main concept of call by value. So in the swap function, we have passed a and b to the swap function by value. That means new copy of a and b is created on the RAM. Okay, so in t, so how to swap two values? The code is simple. T is equal to a is equal to b, and again b is equal to t. Means initial value of a we have to assign to the t. That means what is the initial value of a? 10 is assigned to the t. So now value of t becomes 10. Value of t becomes 10 now. Okay. So after that, b, value of b is assigned to a. Means again value of b is assigned to a. So current value of a, now current value of a becomes 20. That means value of b is copied into a. Next, what is the next line? T, value of t is copied to the b. So value of t is copied to the b. So what is the current value of t? Current value of b becomes 10. Okay, so here value of a and b get swapped in the swap function, but that values does not affected the old values of a and b, which is in the scope of main function. So let's see. Here we have to swap two values, but these values swapped a and b, but within the swap function, which is not reflected back to the main function. And when we have to printf value of a is equal to percentage d slash n comma a, and again printf value of b is equal to percentage d slash n comma b. At that time values of a and b remains as it is, that means 10 and 20, which is not reflected back into old values. Clear? That means values of a and b get swapped, but in which function? Swap function. But these all values are not reflected back into the mains a and b value. So after executing the program, the value of a here is remains as it is, that is 10, and value of b is remains as it is, that is the 20. Let's see. Compile. Okay, save this file as one call by value, call by value, save it. Okay, so after executing, one problem is there, that is swap was not declared in this scope. That means swap function we have not declared, so prototype is remaining. So just write prototype. What is the prototype? Void swap, inside that int a comma int b, then at the end semicolon. After that save that code, again compile it. So there is no error, no warning. That means function having three parts. First, function declaration. This is called as function declaration. Then second part of the function is called as function call, and third part of the function, that is called as function definition. Function definition. Okay, so these are called as three different type parts of the function or elements of the function: function call, function definition, and function declaration. Function declaration is also called as function prototype. Understood? Okay, so let's compile the program. There is no error, no, then execute it. So let's see what is the output. Value of a becomes a as it is, value of b also becomes 20. That is no change in the values of a and b. Okay, but when you print the value of a and b inside the swap function, then what happens? Let comment the printf statement in main function, and when you print the a and b value inside the swap function, then what happens? Just compile it and then run it. So value of a becomes 20, value of b becomes 10. That means value get changed, but within this which scope? Swap function scope. When you print the values of a and b inside the swap function, it gives you swapped values, but in the main function that is not reflected. That means what is the main key point of the passing values to a function using value, that is call by value, means when you pass the values to a function by value, then new copies of that values get created into called function. But when we change the values, we can make the manipulation on the values, then that is reflected only in the new copy, that is in the swap function, but that same values are not reflected back into the calling function, that is main function. So this is all about call by value. Understood? So this is call by value. Next, that is call by reference. In call by reference, what we have to do, we have to pass address, not the value as it is, but whatever may be the address of a and b, we have to pass to the swap function. So what we have to make changes in this same function, that is first we have to pass address of a, and second address of b to a function swap. That means when you pass the address, where we want to catch the address? Into pointer type of variable. So make the changes as a int pointer a, int pointer b. Okay, so here we can swap values, not addresses. So pointer a, make the changes as a pointer b, then pointer b. Okay, so t is a value variable. What pointer a gives you? Value at that address location. What pointer b gives you? Value at that address location. So let's see, check whether it works or not. For that we have to show graphically. So open call by reference image. Okay, so in the call by reference, graphical representation of call by reference, here a and b are the two variables in the scope of main function. Then we have to pass a and b to the swap function by address. Means now a points to the address of a variable because a's address is copied into a variable. Here in swap function, a and b are two pointer type of variables, and in the main function a and b in the scope of main functions are the value variable. Means a and b in the main function contains stores the value, and a and b, these two variables in the swap function, these are pointer variables, so these are stores address of another variable. So what we have to pass, main function pass address of a to this a pointer type of variable, so it contains the address. What address? 100. So this points to the 10 value, and b is a pointer variable which stores the address 200 and points to the 20. Okay, so what happens now, whenever we make the changes in the a and b pointer type of variable in the swap function, that is actual values are reflected in the main functions. Let's see how it works. Okay, so in the code, pointer a value is assigned to the t. So what pointer a in the swap function, pointer a means value at that address location. So what is the value at that address location? 10. So that 10 value is stored into t. So current value of t becomes 10. So what is the current value of t? It becomes 10. That means pointer a gives you value at that address location which is in the scope of swap function, and it stores value 10, and that 10 value is copied into t. Now pointer b, what pointer b stores? Let's see. Pointer b stores address 200 and value at that address location is 20. So this 20 pointer b value, what we have to do? We have to store into address pointer a. So what is pointer a? A stores 100 and that 100's value. So pointer b, that is 20, value 20, and pointer a means value 10. So pointer b is assigned to pointer a. Now that means the old value of a get reflected, and that value now point is changed, and that value becomes now 20 because pointer b. So what is pointer b? Pointer b stores value 20 is assigned to the pointer a. Understood? Okay. So next, what is next? T. What is the value of t? Is assigned to pointer b. So current value of t is 20, 10. So this is assigned to the pointer b. So pointer b means value at that address location. So 20. Now 20 is reflected, and which value is stored into 20? 10. So now current value of pointer b. Pointer b means value at that address location, that is before it is 20, and now t's value is assigned to the pointer b. Now it becomes 10. So what happens? The old values of main function a and b get reflected. So a's current value is 20, b's current value is 10. That means in call by reference, old values get changed, new values does not change because this is a and b are pointer type of variable which stores the address of the old value itself. So whatever may be the changes done is in the old values, and new values does not get affected because the new values contains only addresses. So let's see, after value of a, now value of a, what is the value of a? Don't write this. Value of a becomes pointer a, and what is the value of b? Pointer b. If you see what is the, so here a's value is 20 and b's value is 10 is get reflected. So let's see what happens. Compile. Okay, so here call by value invalid into f permission. That means that call function declaration is different because here what we want to pointer a and again pointer b. So save it, and again because prototype is get changed now because in swap we have to pass address. So if we pass the address of any variable where we want to catch into pointer type of variable, not value variable. So here prototype arguments are in the pointer type of variable, because we have to pass address of any other variable, so it catch into integer pointer a. So after that, compile it. Now it does not give any errors and warnings. Run it. So what is the value? Oh yes, value of a becomes 20 and value of b becomes 10. That means actual value get swapped. Okay, so let's comment it and check it whether it is reflected back to the main function or not. So in main function, value of a is a and value of b is b. So check whether it is reflected back into main function or not. Compile, there is no any error. So now run it. So after running, value of a becomes 20 and value of a becomes 10. That means in call by reference, what happens in call by reference, when you pass the address of any variable to the function as argument, then catch it into the pointer type of variable. After that, swapping of two values, then that swapping becomes reflected in the old values. That means old values get reflected, a and b. That means changes done into old values in the main function, and a and b are pointer type variables in the swap function. So only old values get reflected, new there is no change in the new values. That means old values remain get changed, and when main function display the values of a and b, gives you same values that is reflected. Swap functions, when they check the swapped values, they also gives the same result. So in the call, so summarize the today's lecture. In the call by values, new Xerox copies of that old values does not created, but in the call by reference, when we change the values in the old itself get reflected. So in the called function and calling function, both gives you same result, that is changed result. But in the call by value, when we pass the value as a value, then old values remains as it is and new values get created, and whenever we change the new values, it is not reflected back into old values. That is the main aim of call by value and call by reference. So student, today we will stop here.